back to the Daily Grind. Thanks for checking out the channel. Make sure to hit subscribe if you're new and hit thumbs up if you're not a baby back pickle biting bitch boy, cause you know what time it is. It's full time.
MMA.
Former UFC middleweight champion Luke Rockhold spoke with the media ahead of his UFC interim title fight with Yoel Romero at UFC 221, and he said that he believes a move to light heavyweight is imminent, especially with the fact that Daniel Cormier is moving up to the heavyweight. He said Daniel Cormier is not coming back to light heavyweight, so I'll definitely be up to 205. Now that makes a lot of sense, and also not only is it, if you think about the light heavyweight division, isn't very stacked. Also, Luke Rockhold said, I'm only getting older, my bones are getting thicker, so hey, I'm, not looking forward to cutting all this weight forever. I'm going to be moving up, especially now that my teammate, the former lightweight champion, is moving up to heavyweight. Now, that's interesting, especially considering Daniel Cormier has said that he'll be coming back to 205, which is probably not true, but we'll talk about that at the end of the video. But Luke Rockhold is going to be fighting Yoel Romero tomorrow. It's going to be a dope fight, UFC 221, a really a dope card. It's getting a lot of slack because it's not super stacked for $65, but honestly, I'm telling you, there's also some hot prospects on the card. There's a kid coming up that's like being mentioned with the John Joneses and the Michael Venom Pages and the Anderson Silvas. I forget his name off the top of my head. His name is like Israel. I can't think of his last name, but I'm telling you, I'm looking forward to his fight. You got some heavyweight fights on the card, not to mention Mark Hunt versus Curtis Blades. I mean, it's going to be a good card. I'm looking forward to the card, tomorrow, UFC 221. But with that being said, Luke Rockhold, if he wins this interim title fight, maybe he beats, unifies the title with Robert Whittaker, and then looks to move up to light heavyweight and capture a second title. We know that's the plan with a lot of UFC stars, get a belt and get another belt. Now that Conor McGregor's opened those doors, we've got a lot of champion versus champion super fights. So maybe Luke Rockhold can get his middleweight title back, jump up to 205, and move up to the division that way. Just break it in with a champion versus champion super fight. Who knows? Or maybe he loses a fight and just goes up to 205. Either way, Luke Rockhold should be pretty successful at 205 considering how thin the division is. I mean, when you look at the 205-pound top 15 compared to the 185-pound top 15, or just a lot of the other divisions, 205 is probably one of the most thin divisions in the UFC. So with that being said, Luke Rockhold could definitely have success up there, especially considering he's one of the biggest middleweights in the UFC already right now. So with that being said, man, real quick on Daniel Cormier, he's came out and said that he's not coming back to 205, and then he came out the next week and said, no, I never said that. I know some of you know what I'm talking about. Even one of my friends caught that shit in real life, who was a hardcore fan, but he was like, man, Daniel Cormier, we all heard you say you ain't coming back to 205. But I mean, if you think about it, he kind of has to say he's coming back to 205, or else people would be like, well, then why are you holding up the division? You can't just hold up the division because you want a champion versus champion super fight. So Daniel Cormier's kind of got to say he's coming back to 205, or else he, and he said, I wouldn't want to just hold up the division if I was, not coming back. And that's not really true. I mean, anybody, you, me, any other champion would want to hold their belt. If their next fight was going to be a champion versus champion super fight, you've got to be a champion to have a champion versus champion super fight. So of course you want to hold that belt. But at the same time, a lot of people would complain and say, oh, you can't hold up a division just because you want that super fight. So is Daniel Cormier coming back to 205? I don't think so. Luke Rockhold doesn't seem to think so. But with that being said, it is what it is. Let the full-time family know what you think in the comments. I'm out.
Da 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 da! It's the motherfucking D-O-double-G!